Midweek greetings to our viewers around the world. Thank you for watching Primetime News. I'm Joy Gosses. Leading this evening's bulletin, the Anti-Corruption Commission has welcomed reviewers from France and Uganda who will analyze Namibia's implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption for the next 3 days. Margot Nglobo filed our lead report.
Speaking during the opening ceremony of the 3-day review workshop in Windhoek on Tuesday, Anti-Corruption Commission Director Paulus Noah said the presence of the reviewers from the two countries confirms their two governments' confidence in Namibia's democratic system and governance. Noah noted the findings and recommendations will certainly help Namibia to improve and maximize the implementation of the convention. He said, while some progress has been made in the implementation of the convention, there are areas for improvement. Noah added that since Namibia signed the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in 2003 and ratified it in 2004, it had participated as one of the reviewers during the first review cycle on Chapter 3, Criminalization and Law Enforcement, and Chapter 4, International Cooperation of United Nations Convention Against Corruption. At the same time, Namibia was also reviewed by Canada and Ethiopia, while during the second review cycle, the country was among the first state parties selected to conduct the second review. Noah explained that the recommendations which came out of Namibia's review report remarkably informed the government's reforms that have been adopted since then.
Moving on to an unfortunate incident. 2 tourists were allegedly robbed alongside the B8 road between Otavi and the Kompat settlement in the Otjozondjuba region on Monday. Our correspondent in that region filed the story.
Namibian Police Force spokesperson in the region, Inspector Maureen Beha, in an interview with the Namibia Press Agency on Tuesday, said the incident occurred at around 11:30, approximately 4 kilometers east of Otavi. The tourists are a couple from the Netherlands, aged 52 and 50. Beha noted they were on bicycles riding behind each other from the direction of Otavi towards Kombat when an unknown man allegedly stopped them at knife point and demanded money from them. The suspect then allegedly robbed them of 800 Namibian dollars, a wallet, an iPhone, and 2 power banks, bringing the total value of the stolen goods to 11,000 Namibian dollars, Beha stated. The couple opened a case of robbery at the Otavi police station on the same day. Beha said by Tuesday, no arrest had been made yet and the stolen goods had not yet been recovered. Police investigations into the matter continue.
On to neighboring Angola. The country's former president, José Eduardo dos Santos, who died in Spain last month, will be buried in his native country on Sunday, which would have been his 80th birthday. Lydia Bitiri reports.
Foreign Ministry Nod Babale to foreign diplomats in Luanda seen by AFP today said the funeral will take place on the 28th of August in Luanda at 10 p.m. Dos Santos, who had ruled Angola with an iron fist for 38 years, died on the 8th of July at the hospital in Barcelona after suffering cardiac arrest. The government and his children have been at odds over when and where he would be buried. His 44-year-old daughter, Ches dos Santos, had insisted he had wanted to be buried in Spain, where he had lived since 2019. But a Spanish court last week ruled that his body be released to his Luanda-based wife and repatriated to Angola. His body was returned to Luanda on Saturday evening. When he stepped down in 2017, Dos Santos had handed over to former Defense Minister João Lourenço, whom he had handpicked to succeed him. Lourenço is seeking re-elections in a tightly fought elections taking place today.
In international news, as the Russia-Ukraine conflict extends, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky today vowed in an Independence Day address that his country would fight Russia's invasion until the end and would not be making any concession or compromise. Here are the details.
Zelensky, in a video address on Wednesday, which also marks 6 months since the invasion began, said they don't care what army you have, they only care about their land and they will fight for it until the end. Adding they have been holding strong for 6 months, it's tough, but they have clenched their fists and they are fighting for their destiny. Zelensky noted every new day is a reason not to give up. After such a long journey, we do not have the right not to go on to the end. Referring to Russia, he added, they will not try to find an understanding with terrorists. He stressed for them Ukraine is the whole of Ukraine, all 25 regions, without any concession or compromise.
When we return, high cost of living disrupts South Africa's economy. Welcome to Primetime Buzz. Official data today showed inflation in South Africa accelerated to its highest level in 13 years in July, pushed mainly by surging food, transport and electricity prices as workers staged protests over the high cost of living.
Consumer prices rose at an annual rate of 7.8% in July, up from 7.4% in June, the National Statistics Agency, Stats SA, said in a statement. The publication of the latest statistics coincided with protests in major cities over the worsening economic conditions, which have been particularly crushing for the poorest in the continent's most industrialized country. Strikers led by South Africa's two largest trade unions called for government action to combat rising poverty and the cost of living in the world's most unequal country. While the new inflation figure is bad news for consumers, economists see the country likely reaching a tipping point and believe inflation could ease in the coming months. For Primetime Biz, I'm Michael Madimba.
Moving on to the European economy. The euro dived to a two-new-decade low against the dollar, and European stock markets fell Tuesday as weak economic data raised fears of recession amid an energy crunch. Let's get more from this report.
The single currency tumbled to $0.9901, but later crawled back losses to return above parity with the dollar in afternoon trading as the greenback was hit by poor U.S. economic data. The dollar has strengthened this week against other currencies ahead of a speech later this week by U.S. Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell, as markets speculate that the central bank will further tighten its monetary policy. Higher interest rates boost the greenback as they make dollar-dominated debt more attractive to investors. But the euro is also weighed down by a gloomy outlook of the Eurozone economy as Russia's war in Ukraine has sent energy prices soaring. The shared unit had already plunged below parity Monday on recession fears to plumb the lower levels since 2002 when it came into physical circulation.
That's all the top news we had for you this evening. I'm Joy Gosses. The sports news is up next.
Welcome to Sport Planet, the segment that brings you sport in action within and beyond Namibia. Good evening to you all. I'm Michael Madimba. Our sports correspondent Hesron Kapanga is currently in South Africa, tracking our girls on the road to qualification for the 2023 Netball World Cup, and reports that their dream of qualifying for the World Cup slipped out of their hands after a 41-45 defeat against Zimbabwe on Tuesday. Namibia were in Pool A alongside hosts South Africa, Tanzania, Botswana and Zimbabwe have now lost 2 matches at the African Netball World Cup qualifiers underway at the University of Pretoria Rembrandt Hall. Switching our attention to the world of football, Real Madrid midfielder Toni Kroos has never regretted his retirement from the Germany team last year. In a charity question and answer session published earlier today, the 32-year-old said there's never been a moment when I doubted my conscious decision to retire. The fact that I would retire after the European Championship, I'd come to terms with that for a long time, he added. Kroos played 106 internationals for Germany, including winning the World Cup in 2014, but his last appearance was the round of 16 exit at last year's Euros against England. Kindly stand by for your sports roundup. With the sports news, we've come to the end of the Primetime News Midweek edition. Much appreciated for watching. If you're new to this channel, do subscribe, like, share, as well as press the notifications bell to stay posted on the latest happenings. Catch us again on the morrow as we bring you contextualized events locally, continentally, and globally. From myself, Michael Madimba, and the entire cast and crew, it's good night.